Hey, what's going on, guys? If you're watching this video, it's because you either stumbled across it, I sent it to you because your question is in the video, or maybe you're part of the whole Facebook thing and you want to get tagged in it. So let's get started with it. So back in 2018, I was kind of fed up with my old job and I wanted to pursue driving. So I had to wait until my driving record was cleaned up because, I had a pretty bad speeding ticket after I got my gray Z32 that's in the picture back there up and running. So I had to wait about 3 years before I was able to apply for a trucking job. So anyway, my dad, he drove for Schneider, and I'm like, well, I'm going to call them and apply as well. So a few days later, I got a call back, and then that kind of, was the start of my new journey. So at the time, Schneider was offering free CDL training with no contract, along with paying you about $500 a week plus your hotel, and then they had meal cards, so you could use their 2 meal tickets per day and purchase food in their facility. So I don't think they're offering the contract list deal anymore. That's kind of what I had, so I was able to walk away if I wanted to right after I got my CDL. Now I think you have a 2-year contract or like 100,000 loaded mile contract, but regardless, if you're interested, give them a call and they can give you a proper rundown. So after I got my CDL, I was on the road between Monday through Friday, home on the weekends. I only did that for 2 months because I stumbled across a local position within Schneider. So I did that for about a year and a half, the local position, mind you. I did the local position for about a year and a half, and then I'm like, okay, it is time for me to get my big boy truck. So, as you know, I had to sell a couple of assets. I sold my bike and my 300ZX to afford the down payment on my truck. To get the down payment, you need about 30% down, and I don't think there's any negotiating that. So just keep that in mind if you're planning on financing a truck. So I got the truck. I took it down to Charlotte, North Carolina, and for Schneider's IC orientation thing, and they took the truck in. They took the truck in for their own personal DOT inspection, and they would not allow me to run their load board until they did that. Unfortunately, the truck failed, which was odd because any other person who brought in a third-party truck also failed. So that didn't really make any sense. If you leased a SFI truck through them, then it passed and you were on the road, but it's just whatever. So a little background about that was I actually almost didn't make it because I wasn't financially prepared to fail. So my money was drying up pretty quickly, and I was trying to also help out a friend who needed to borrow like $1,000 in the time being, which I'm like, it is what it is. I'm just gonna loan him the money because he needs it really bad, and I think I'll be okay. So after waiting and sweating and trying to be as cheap as possible, I got the phone call saying, hey, your truck's done. I brought it back to orientation after I hopped in it, and it passed. It shouldn't have failed to begin with, but that's just in the past. It is what it is. So after that, I was able to hit the road and start making, some pretty good money. So we can talk about the money in like the middle or near the end of the video because I'm pretty sure someone had already asked that question. But I also made some pre-questions in case someone else has thought of some questions but didn't really comment it or anything. But I made these questions way before I even made that post. So number 1 would be, should you get your CDL? Well, obviously you should if you're looking into getting into driving, like a semi-truck. But there are some things you may want to look at first. So, for example, if you're in a relationship, then you need to have a good talk with your partner because you guys are going to go from seeing each other from as much as you do now to maybe a couple times a day or a couple times a week or less, assuming you'll be like the average truck driver who is on the road between Monday through Friday and home on the weekends. If you have kids or pets with no one to watch them for, I can't say any other reason, but if you just don't have anyone to watch them, then that's another reason why you'd want to be home every day. But that's okay because they also have local trucking jobs, which are challenging to get, but it's not impossible. And this should be a no-brainer, but if you have a a filthy, disgusting, nasty, foul driving record, then you want to get that cleaned up, because chances are they're going to turn you away if you apply, because you're going to jack up their insurance rates. Also, if you do any drugs of any kind, you should already know by now that that's going to be a no-no. They do hair follicle test, so if they find anything, then they will turn you away. Another one is this is more like personal, I guess. So if you're someone who requires a lot of attention, well maybe not a lot of attention, but if you're someone who needs to be around people, you're not used to working alone or just being alone by yourself, then you may want to take that into consideration before thinking about becoming a truck driver. Granted, they do offer team driving positions, but I don't have any experience with that. I personally do not want to drive teams because I just couldn't do it. It's just too much. So number 2 would be, how can you obtain your CDL? You can get your CDL a few ways. I personally recommend finding a mega carrier like Schneider, Swift, JB Hunt, or Prime, and go through their training course, which can be free with no contract. Or if you go through a third-party CDL school such as Great Lakes, it's going to cost you around $6,000. So keep that in mind. And then also, even if you got their CDL training from a third-party school, chances are if you apply to a mega carrier, they're still gonna retrain you for a couple of weeks and then put you in their truck. So just keep that in mind. How did becoming a truck driver affect my life? I kind of wanted to put this towards the end of the video, but I already read it, so I guess I'll just say it now. My bad. But my experience has been nothing but great. I was home every day whenever I was a company driver, so I had that bread and butter experience. I had all the free time in the world. All I did was sleep whenever I got home, and now that I got my own truck, I work when I want, I work for as long as I want, and I go where I want. My time is a bit limited because I choose to work a lot. I will run my 70-hour clock down every single week and start once my 34-hour break has been completed. I guess while I'm on that subject, I will bring up HOS, hours of service. Us truck drivers are only allowed to work 70 hours a week, if you didn't already know that, and we are allowed to drive 11 hours a day. So you only have 11 hours a day to actually make money. Let's see. So yeah, my experience is pretty great for right now. I mean, there are some downsides, such as the truck did break down on me a couple months ago, and that was really unfortunate, but I was fine. I had enough money to just, chill out. But I was still a little salty to see the tow truck finally hook up to my Volvos. I'm like, dang, couldn't have been me. But anyway, next question. Actually, this one isn't really a question. It was something that I want to throw in. When you become a truck driver, you will very quickly realize that the people that are assholes on the road may have been you in the past before you became a truck driver, and they will inconvenience you for no reason. I guess a good example of that would be, some people don't know this, but if you are ever just traveling in the middle lane on a 3-lane highway, for example, or multi-lane highway, and you have this truck driver that is just breathing in your farts, that is how close he is to you. It's because, he's upset because you're in our fast lane, and we don't want to pass you in the left lane, because if we pass in the left lane, we start pissing off other cars that are in the left lane behind us, especially if you decide to speed up, which is what a lot of people do for that reason. Or in some cases, the left lane isn't legal for us trucks to be in. Sometimes it's trucks left 2 lanes only. Or some other people don't understand these truck signs where it will say left lane trucks only, for example. It's mind blowing, and people just don't get that, and they'll get upset and flick you off whenever they get around you or whatever. But just keep that in mind. You will experience some pretty interesting driving habits from other drivers. Do I still enjoy truck driving? Absolutely. I like working for most of the time. I'm a very hard worker. It pays the bills, and it really helps with my lifestyle. So I'm able to do a lot more than what I was doing whenever I was a Nissan lube tech 5 some years ago. Do I have any regrets from being a truck driver? Yeah. I mean, we all do whenever we hop inside a job or any type of job. There were days where I wish that I was home. I'm sure everyone has those days. But I've also dealt with being sick over the road too, and that was quite interesting. I can't really express how much that sucks compared to being sick at home versus being sick over the road. But regardless, you just gotta take care of yourself and make sure you're in good condition before you start driving again. Not to mention, if you're having a really bad day mentally speaking, then all you have is yourself to talk to while you drive. Like you are just all alone within your thoughts, and that can be a slippery slope for some people. So if you need someone to talk to and you're just having a really, really bad day, I highly suggest that you pull over and you call your best buddy or someone, or even me, and just vent. Like, it will make you feel a lot better, and then once you're done, you can go back to being focused and complete your day safely. So do whatever you can to make sure that your mental health is good. But my biggest regret would be getting stuck in. Well, I can't say it is a regret. It's a story. I'm not gonna get too into it, but some of you know this because I've told it because I think it's funny. But the worst possible feeling that you can have while driving a truck is being stuck in traffic and having to poop. That's just about as honest as I can be. It's not a pleasant feeling. So now that we have finished my pre-made questions, let's go on to some of the questions that you guys left me on Facebook. And I have redone this video several times. Like I stayed up until like 3 a.m. Trying to talk about this experience and not make it a 40-minute video. So right now we are schmoovin'. So, what's going on here? Technical difficulties. Give me 1 second. Okay, alright. So let's start with... So some of these questions that are on Facebook, they're kind of like repeat questions. So if I end up skipping them, like I'll tell you that it's like a repeat. No offense, it's just I already answered that. So, let's see. You got odds of me being able to get insurance on my own rig before having a CDL for 2 years. So, getting your insurance is tricky because I had to wait until I was basically at 2 years. Like, they were still iffy about me getting bobtail insurance, which is what I needed to take my truck from Little Rock, Arkansas, to Ohio, and then to Charlotte for orientation before I was getting put on Schneider's insurance. And it was a fight to get that insurance because I wasn't at that 2-year mark. So if I wasn't at 2 years and if I didn't get lucky or if I wasn't that close, then I would have to pay a decent amount of money to get insured. I don't remember the exact quote, but I know it was a lot of money if I just needed that short amount of time. But if that's ever a problem, look into getting lease onto a company if that's how you're trying to start off. I think it's the easiest way, and it should be significantly easier because, mega carriers just have like really cheap and affordable insurance. Let's see. Another guy said, would you recommend getting into trucking if you wanted to do strictly local stuff? Yeah, you can. Just understand the local job is what everyone wants, so it's going to be a little bit tricky finding that job, especially when you have other competitors that have more experience than you. They're most likely going to get that before you do. It's possible, but go in the field accepting that you may be on the road at a minimum Monday through Friday. That's me personally. That's how I will take care of that. That's also how I started. Then we got pay difference between owning your truck versus working for a company? So I'm going to answer the company first. I wish I had, maybe I do, let's see here. I'm going to log in and check and see what I made before I became a independent contractor. So maybe I can find that here. Where are you? I probably can't, but if I remember correctly, whenever I was a company driver, since I was local, I was also paid salary, but my gross for local was, I think, $42,000 a year. Yeah, I don't have it on here. Okay, so it was at least $42,000 a year whenever I was a company driver for Schneider, and then my first year after being a independent contractor, I did $183,000, not including my deductions or anything like that. Like, I haven't deducted my expenses from that 183. This year, thanks to my outstanding business partner, I am looking at very close to $300,000 if I continue to push myself as hard as I am now. So that is a goal. That was a New Year's resolution goal that I had for myself, and I am getting really close to it. So hopefully I can get there. Let's see, what else did he said? He said, how do I go about getting loads? I use the Schneider load board. I don't use any other load board. And then he said, what to watch out for. I don't really understand that question, because that could be a lot of things. If you're talking about loads, I just try to find anything that is over, $2.30 a mile, and I just roll with that. Like, if I can make 1,000 a day, then it's not bad. It's not a bad day. There are some days where I can make over 2,000, but I try not to move if I can't make anything over 1,000, because it's just a wasted day, in my opinion. How many hookers can you fit in your cab? I'm going to say about 17. Let's see. If I could go back in time to get the best start, what would I do? If I had to be honest, I believe I had the best start because I had assets at my disposal and I used that. And then I had a very, very good friend that was willing to give me a $7,000 loan for the very first truck I was looking at. But that truck fell through, so I wasn't able to get that one, but that's fine. So I sold some of my stuff and I got it, and then I bought my Z back. Hooray! But yeah, I personally believe that I had the best start, and there was no other way that I could have improved that. If I didn't have that option, then I would say maybe applying for a personal loan or something would have been my next step, and using that money for the down payment. But also, you want to make sure that you have credit cards, and those credit cards are paid off and ready to be used in case, worse comes to worse. So that's really about it. But then also, that's just speaking on behalf of getting my own truck. I guess the best start would just be not being an idiot whenever I first got my car on the road and getting a speeding ticket of 111 miles an hour and a 60. Certainly not doing that. That would be the best start. And then we got, let's see, startup cost, acquiring CDL process. Okay, so startup costs, I'm going to say you want to have, obviously, money to do the down payment on your truck. Everyone's going to be different, because my salesman was amazing. Casey at Tri-State Trucking Sales, I believe that's the place. He gave me a really killer deal on the truck, and if he didn't do that, it would have been significantly more difficult for me to get into this business. So startup cost was probably, my startup cost was $8,100, and then I had maybe like $10,000 ish worth of credit card stuff that I could use at my disposal. But that got ate up real quick because I had some things happen that I was not planned for. Not Casey's fault. He didn't sell me a bad truck. It's just Schneider is just very picky about who they give their numbers to. I would say after you get your truck, regardless of how much money it costs, to have at least $15,000 on standby at all given times in the bank, and then build that up. So like 15 grand minimum, and build it up. And once again, you still want to make sure your credit cards are freed up. So I'm trying to speed through this because we're at 20 minutes already. Last video I made, it was like 45 minutes, so we're getting it cut down in half. So this is really good. We're making good progress. Acquiring the CDL, well, you still have to go through your, what is it, your CDL temps. So you get that from either the BMV or DMV. I don't really remember which one. I cheated to get mine, by the way, so it is what it is. That's how I did that. But also, you have to be over the age of 21 to go across state lines in a commercial vehicle. So keep that in mind as well. Lease or buy a truck. I personally think that you should not lease, especially right now. If you asked me 3 years ago, then I would have said leasing wouldn't have been a bad idea, especially with Schneider. After 6 months, just 6 months of driving, you are able to lease a vehicle from them. But you'll be spending about $1,100 a week to lease that truck, and that adds up very quickly, especially now with how expensive fuel is. So it would end up being like, after you have your fuel, your insurance, and actually let me add it up, just a rough estimate. So I spend roughly around $2,400 a week in fuel, and then we'll do plus $1,100 for the truck payment, and then insurance. Insurance each week is actually kind of cheap. It's like $150. So it's $36.50 for deductions, automatic deductions, which is insane. That's freaking nuts. So you're not making money until you're basically making $3,700 and more. So keep that in mind. That's a very slippery slope. I bought my truck, and I think that's the best way to do it, because now that it is paid off, it's just good. Life is a lot easier now that I have a paid off truck. And he says, what type of work and route? I do dryvan, and the route I take is normally around Ohio. I try to do like a 5-hour radius within Ohio, and sometimes I'll venture out and I will experiment and try doing over the road stuff. But that's really about it. How do you feel about the industry? It's questionable, mainly because of fuel. Fuel is probably going to be $6 today. I haven't left the house yet, but I fueled up yesterday because we lost our decent fuel discount, which was 50 cents, and now it's down to 7 cents. So this is really gonna suck. Like, it's not looking too good. It's still profitable, but I'm gonna say if fuel ever hits around $10 or $12 a gallon, then I may be hanging up my keys. I think that's my breaking point. How can others come in and quickly be profitable? That is a tough question, because that all depends on you. It all depends on how prepared you are. Basically, you need money to make money. So if you don't have a lot of money to spend to get started, then it's going to take you some time before you start making that money back. But it can become extremely quickly profitable. Like, you're talking, you could pay your truck off if you wanted to within, well, for me, my truck cost $27,000. If I absolutely wanted to, with my experience now, I could have paid that truck off after my down payment and all that stuff within like I'm gonna say 5 weeks. If I really wanted to, I could have paid that truck off within 5 weeks, but I was told to sit on it and build up what did he call it? I think he called it business credit, like a credit history. So that's what I did. But yeah, you can make your money back really quickly. Do you need a green card? And did the price of lot lizards go up? I don't know for both. Are lot lizards real? Absolutely. If you guys remember, I had one knock on my truck one day while I was sleeping, or while I was going to sleep. So that was a very interesting experience. And the crazy part is, I don't even think that was a woman. I think that was a dude. But whatever. How much cash flow do you need to maintain operation? I'm going to say having 15 grand in the bank at all times to cover your bills is the best way to go about doing that. If you have more power to you. I right now have them take out 5% of my net each week but I'm going to change that to 25% because there's no reason for me to be having access to all this money at one given time because I spend it so fast and then I'm like, where did it go? So, uh-oh, I gotta turn that off. Okay. So having like 15 grand in the bank, along with having over $10,000 worth of credit card, limits at your disposal, I think that's pretty safe. Let's see. Nope, it's not a question. Not a question. Another, how much they spend on lot lizards. All of it. All of it goes to lot lizards. Then I got some messages. Oh, you got a message from someone just now. Let's see what he wants. Maybe it's another question. Let's see. We got two in here. This guy handed me a loaded question, so let's get into this. So he said, how much do you set aside for maintenance? Like I said, it's just 5% for right now. I need to get better on that. Right now I have like 14 grand in a totally separate account, plus my credit cards that I can use for truck repair and all that stuff. But I also have multiple credit cards. I have one for the truck, then one for personal use while the truck is in the shop, and then I have two other ones for just whatever. Let's see. So I'm just gonna say like 25 grand total. With the mixture of credit cards and money in the bank. What type of freight do I haul? I have no idea. They just put money in the bank, and that's really about it. Wait, my bad. They just put stuff in the trailer, and then I just take it places. Like I have no idea what goes in there. And it says, how many loads per week do I normally haul? That depends on if I'm trying to go over the road or stay local. If I'm staying local, I do multiple loads because like short loads pay well, and then you can be home every day. If I'm doing short loads, then I'm doing like 12 a week. If I'm over the road, I'm doing like 4 to 6. How many miles per week do I normally travel? About 33 to 3,600. So it's quite a lot. That will max out my 70-hour clock. And let's see, how am I getting paid? I'm getting paid by the mile, not a percentage. What regions am I running? I run around 5 hours within Ohio. That's where I like to stay. What is your typical weekly or monthly gross? So I normally average between $6,000 to $8,000 each week, and that is around $24,000 to $32,000 each month. So that's how it is having my own truck. If I ever decide, how do I decide to pay myself? Like, how much do I give myself each week? Well, I give myself all of it, and that's why it's all going all the time. So that's why I'm going to work on that and change my 5% deduction to 25%, so I can save money a lot better and possibly put that towards, a second truck in the future. How do I handle my taxes? I don't. I'm not good at paying my taxes. I still owe like 16 grand. So basically it's like 10%. So it's not bad, but you're going to owe 10% of your gross, not 10% of your net. That's my experience. So I'm going to try and find a different tax person, and maybe they can get that significantly more down. What's your typical cost for insurance? About like $600 a month. I'm going to say that's what I pay for my insurance. That is with Schneider. So, a long time ago, well, not a long time ago, but the reason why I don't use my truck to haul my drift car anymore is because if I want to do that legally, then I guess I have to get my own insurance, and that's like $1,200 a month. It's ridiculous, but I'll get it in the future. Just right now, this year it's just not good for me. So I'm just waiting until I'm in a better position to where I can do that. Let's see. He doesn't have any more questions. And there's someone else that sent one. Dang, this video is starting to become 30 minutes long. No, it's too long. It's gonna scare people. So he says requirements to get a CDL. Just clean driving record. You got to be able to pass your DOT physical, and you have to be over the age of 21. Also, you got to be able to pass a drug test as well. Are you OTR local? I'm whatever I want to be. So we can say I'm both. And that about covers that. So hopefully I answered just about everything that I possibly could in this video. I was trying to speed up and not make the video too long. I really wanted under 20 minutes, but it just didn't seem feasible for that to even happen. So for those who stayed and watched this until the end, you know, congrats, I guess, and thank you for actually hearing me babble for half an hour. And hopefully the questions that you answered, hopefully the questions that I answered can help you out with making a decision on whether or not you want to either become a truck driver or become a owner-operator. If you're in it for the money, then just like everyone else, it's possible, but you just gotta, you know, put a lot down in order to get a lot out of it. But if you can handle that, then you'll be pretty happy. Oh wait, no. I completely missed one guy's question, and it was like the most important one. Where is it? No, where was it? Did he delete it? No, there it is. Okay, so he was asking initial startup costs and how much time home or time for drift events. The most important question. Well, I've already answered the initial startup costs, but the home time I kind of answered as well. I am home whenever I decide to be. I am my own boss. I don't even set alarms. I just wake up whenever I want, and then that's when I start working, which is awesome. Unless, you know, I have a load that has like a strict deadline, then that's different. Time for drift events, I always have time for drift events. There is no reason for me not to have time for drift events. Now, when you ask how much time do I have to work my car, that's different because I am just not motivated to get off work and then go work in my car. I've gotten comfortable with just paying shops such as Race Lab to maintain or do any like major repairs on my car, and then, you know, the times I do feel like working on my car, I will ask Eric if he is available and if we can, you know, like get together and do something, because it's fun and it's kind of refreshing every now and then. But if you have your own truck, you can always make time. If you're a company driver, I didn't experience anything bad when it came to planning for drift events when I was a company driver, because I was local and I was always home on the weekends, and I wasn't doing like anything crazy for drifting, at least like I wasn't going like halfway across the country. But I will say, if you're a company driver and you know, you're doing the Monday through Friday thing, planning for drift events can be a little tricky because they may keep you on the road a little longer, or stuff can happen and they'll be like, hey, can you stay out and do your 34-hour in your truck? Like there are things that can happen like that. They may not be able to get you home whenever you want to. So I can't say how often that happens, but it does happen. So keep that in mind. And I guess that is about it. So in this video, I'm going to try and organize all the questions in the description. I will do that later today, so it is more organized. But for right now, this video is going to be posted as is. So if you guys have any other questions, or, you know, have any other video requests regarding, you know, like trucking or drifting or anything, then just let me know, and then I'll try and make it. This video was put together very quickly because I have to get rolling pretty soon, and I was up kind of late last night trying to get it done, but it just wasn't going well. So this time I think I got it, and that's really about it. So thanks for watching.